Donald Trump and his allies. Well, looks like some of them are about to start, snitching. Okay, let's put it up full mass. Very interesting. Out of the cast of characters, who do you think will be the first to turn state? Well, typically, it's the individual acting as if they would never betray Donald Trump. If you remember, Cohen said in front of a judge that he would take a bullet for Trump. And immediately I said, him snitching. Because only someone who is actually turning state would say something so insane in the courtroom. History has shown the 18 co-defendants that Trump doesn't care about anyone but himself, said Michael Cohen, the guy who should know, Trump's former attorney, referring to the 18 people charged alongside Trump in the Georgia election racketeering case. Quote, I suspect it will be every defendant for himself, Cohen added. He should know he was once Trump's versatile fixer, but is now a star witness against him in the New York criminal case, stemming from the hush money payments to a, adult porn star. Cohen broke with Trump years ago, but in recent weeks, Trump allies are now facing, or could face, jeopardy in connection with 3 of his 4 pending criminal cases. They have shown they might follow Cohen's lead. In late August, an information technology aide at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort dramatically changed his story about alleged efforts to erase surveillance video and agreed to cooperate with special counsel Jack Smith, who has charged Trump with hoarding classified documents. The aide, Yuscil Tavares, was not charged in the case, but his flip may help him dodge a possible perjury charge prosecutors were in fact floating. And it is likely to bolster Smith's obstruction of justice case against Trump and 2 other aides. Now, this is going to be an interesting dynamic because if they can show or establish and prove that Donald Trump coerced a witness or potential witness to either A, lie, or B, cover up information, engage in obstruction, active obstruction of justice, and he testifies to this matter and has proof or evidence for the testimony, well, that's another concrete charge. That's evidence provided. There's more. Then 3 GOP activists who were indicted alongside Trump in Georgia for trying to interfere with the certification of President Joe Biden's win in the state asserted that their actions were all taken at Trump's behest. And last week, Trump's former White House chief of staff, Mark Meadows, as I reported, basically snitched on Donald Trump, also charged in the Georgia case, signaled that his defense is likely to include blaming the former president as the primary driver of the effort. Now, how is that? Meadows argued last week that the entire reason he should have his case removed from the Fulton County jurisdiction to the jurisdiction of the federal government is because he was acting under the guise of a federal officer. And acting under the guise of his federal position, he should not be tried in a state proceeding. But what does that mean? That means that his affirmative defense is going to be that he was simply doing what his boss told him to do. And because of that, he's covered under the guise of his federal position. Will that hold water? Likely not. He knows better. Okay, you don't get to blindly follow someone and then say, oh, well, I was just following orders. Doesn't work that way. All right. Strategically speaking, if you are one of the lesser important players, you would definitely want to be in the same trial with Donald Trump. All of the focus is going to be on him, says Scott Weinberg, a Florida-based attorney who represented one of the oath keepers in a high-profile trial stemming from the Jan 6th attack on the Capitol. Quote, they don't want the little guys, they want Trump. You're always compared to who you're next to. And he's talking about inside of the same court proceeding, in front of the same judge and jury. And I agree. Now, those pushing back on this narrative, saying, wait a minute, Donald Trump should not be treated any differently. Why would they simply want to go after him? Here's what's ironic about the narrative Republicans are trying to now spew. When there's a mob boss, nobody says, well, why are they going after the mob boss in such an aggressive way? Why is it that the mob boss is being treated differently as if he's the target? Everybody knows the mob boss is the target. Everybody understands the criminality of leadership and the hierarchy that it is coming from. But all of a sudden, in the case of Donald Trump, who not only is the in fact leader, he's the former president of the United States. Of course, he's the target. And he is the but-for factor. If it had not been for him, none of this would be a reality. He's the guy who they're going to target. And it's going to look like he's the guy they're going to target, period. All right, Sharon, thoughts here.
So in keeping with your analogy, Dr. Richey, you're saying that Donald Trump would be like the John Gotti figure, less dapper, right?
That's right. Exactly.
I look at this as a WWE battle royale, and I don't know how many of your audience enjoy that, but it's like, it starts with like 20 contestants and then eliminate them one by one where they're thrown over the rope. And I think that's exactly what's gonna happen here. I would say one thing about the Oath Keeper lawyer who said, you want to be sitting next to Donald Trump. I agree, except for perhaps two of the defendants. I'm sure you could guess which two would not get off any easier.
Yeah, Trump may just blame them for the whole thing.
Sure.
And it could work, hell.
America would buy it.
Right.